Hello, Paul. How are you?
Good, thank you. How are you, Peter? Very
Yeah,
good, eh?
not too bad.
Very, eh? Choice is, I should say.
Choice, man. I haven't heard that for many, many years. Well, actually, I've heard it recently, but like in a proper setting.
Whenever you go to New Zealand, it's almost as if they choose the words that don't need vowels, or they choose the words in sentences that have the most vowels possible. This is Joel. This is Phil, Tom, and this is Sud, right? And they're just like every everyone needs a few extra vowels, you know, but they don't let them have them. And just
Wow.
words like, "I bought a this and that. What have you been up to?" And they sort of over enunciate the T's and the things that are sort of we've made obsolete with our kind of street talk. But
Oh,
yeah, they've got
was it
hit
one
songs in. Go on, sorry.
one that got me, Polly, once. A fella explained to me that he was a Kiwi guy. It was
Fellow. Oh yeah,
Maori Kiwi,
houses. Yeah, yeah.
and he explained that in the proper Kiwi accent, the difference between pigs and pigs. Like, so pig, so you've got like
I think
you
you've
got
told me this.
pegs on the washing line, but you have to pronounce them like pigs. So they're
Mm,
pigs, and
mm,
then you got pigs in the bush,
yeah.
and they're pigs.
Yeah, you're using too many vowels. They wouldn't waste the energy. I mean, you look at an American face, you're like, sure, Bob, it's right there, right over there, right? Like they've put a huge, like they chew gum when they're not talking. Like, oh, fucking, I'm gonna pull a train with my teeth. That's
Yeah,
American, right? And then we're like, yeah, fucking keep the flies out, mate, fucking ever, right? But New Zealanders have gone the extra level, and they're like, oh, this and neat, push and chop, you know? They don't
Listen,
socks 7, 8, 9, 10, right? They don't give a fuck, and so you're saying, oh, you put the pigs on the washing line. But then sometimes they sort of
the
over
pigs.
enunciate.
It's the pigs.
They even over enunciate words that are incorrect. Like you take the pigs and you put them on the washing line, and then the pugs come in from the pen and they walk in and they look at the pigs and they say, "You don't need them. You can just use our hooves. We'll use them as clamps to
Our
hold on to the lot.
hooves.
Hold on to our
Oh,
trotters."
speaking of
And that's
fucking
the thing, the
hooves,
T in
how about
trotters.
the fucking travesty at the fucking Melbourne Cup the other day, man? I know you would
It's
have
only expected.
been
Well,
watching that.
a
I know it's
racehorse
expected.
dies every three
I know it's
days.
expected, but like it's just incredible,
Crazy.
isn't
And
it?
in the last 8 Melbourne Cups, 7 racehorses have died
Just on the day.
on the day. Or
Yeah.
on the day, or they kept them alive for the sake of,
Imagine
covering it
if
up.
that
They would die
imagine if that
2
was
weeks.
the same as like the Bledisloe Cup, like the
Yeah,
rugby, like, Australia, New
it's the
Zealand, and
only
like there'd be
it's the
like
only
one
sport in
man
Australia
died
that has
every year,
an acceptable death rate. No, that's right. It's the only sport in Australia that's got an acceptable death rate for its athletes.
And I'm not sure if it's acceptable.
No, it is. It's got the key performance indicators. They're legal requirements to keep the body. I don't know how the system's organised
Yeah,
in the confines
the
of
hoof rate,
governmental
keep the
rules
hoof
and
rate. Yeah,
yeah, but it's not only just the animals that die on the track, and they get one death every 3 days in Australia. So what's 365 divided by three? About 120.
yeah, 120, 121, 120.
There are about 120 deaths on the track per year. But
Yeah,
then the breeding cycle, right? They kill all the foals that don't show potential, right?
yeah,
They
yeah,
get killed. And then if a racehorse, whether it's 1,000, a million, or whatever else,
yeah. They
some
treat it
some
like
of
shit
them,
when it
well, no,
retires.
but they're raped if they're female, right? And they put them at the stud or whatever you call it, these
Yeah,
terminologies and
yeah,
shit,
yeah. That's a
right? And
stud.
so they're raped incessantly for a
It's like
fee, so they make more
it's like
money out of them.
Pornhub
Yeah,
for horses.
It's horse hub, man. And then
Horse hub.
they, and then they juice
Sorry,
them
I
out
should
as
laugh
much
at
as
that.
possible. It's basically like wringing a sponge to get the last juices out, and then for $200 they sell them at the fucking
Yeah.
a kill buyer at the market, like Magic
They
Millions or
s-
something.
they
They just
spit on that. They
at the
spit on that sponge just to the last second, just to get that
exactly
extra bit of
the
fucking
moment
moisture
they're
through it.
not fast enough, the moment they're not fast enough and they stop making money,
Yeah.
it's too expensive to maintain a horse, right? So
Yeah.
putting them out to retirement or trying to find a proper home, it's just too hard. There aren't enough homes for the massive amounts of horses they
But
keep breeding.
even
And
though
just,
even though most racehorses are owned by about 150 people.
well, there just isn't enough. I mean, they in New South Wales, they set up this program which basically the law changed to say no horse, racehorse or otherwise, would be sent to an abattoir or an ackery ever again, right? And then,
Well, it could never go to an abattoir. That's like what
but
for?
there is human consumption. There are two
Oh,
knackeries.
dog.
I think.
Is it for dog?
No, well, there are human abattoirs for horses that I guess must have
Not in
higher,
Australia.
more stringent. I don't know if they export it, but there are people around the world who eat horse meat.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure there'd be some Australians who would buy it. I don't know if it wouldn't be illegal to eat horse meat, would it?
I think it is.
Really?
I'm pretty sure it is in Australia. Yeah.
Oh, you'd know the law because you're a chef. Okay, just let's quickly because I want to talk to you about food and potentially we'll get into a conversation about animal brutality in the kitchen or on the
Yeah.
way to the kitchen. Well, just more to do with meals and stuff. But with the horse racing industry, I was just narrator for a documentary for the Coalition for the Protection of Racehorses, and I had to watch the slaughter footage of these horses. They had all these undercover investigation cameras planted all over this knackery. It
Yeah.
was disgusting. I had to watch them being
Fuck,
lined
man.
up and shot in the head. Half of them didn't die with the first captive bolt gun, and sometimes the captive bolt
What
would
do
get
they shoot
stuck
them in
in
the
their
head with?
forehead.
They did it with bolt guns, did they?
Have you
Like the
ever
cattle.
seen No Country for Old Men? You know that
Yeah.
scary
Yeah.
fucking dude.
Yeah.
That's the weapon they use for the horses, right?
Yeah.
But
Right.
but it's not just the death; it's the lining up and the fucking get the fucking there, you're gonna fucking die, and the cattle prod up in the asshole, right? That shove them
Yeah.
in. It's all so violent, right?
Yeah. It's
And
filthy.
then like half of them are still alive when they slice their throat open and this blood's gush. Okay, I'm exaggerating. Not half of them are still alive, but
Yeah.
they're often they'll survive the first captive bolt to the head, right? And they've got to be
Yeah.
done several times and stuff.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
it's it's not the murder that is the most. It's the horses not wanting to go in there, and then they're looking
Yeah.
over the edge. That's the most frightening footage. When you see the horse having been like they're kicking and trying to fight, but they can't because they're being restrained, and these fucking brutality fucking dudes
It
standing around
knows.
with
They know.
rods and
Yeah.
shit.
They
And
know.
well, of course they know. They can hear and they can see and they can smell the blood, and they look over the edge and they see their dead friend lying there in a pool of fucking blood. I mean,
Yeah.
what
Wow.
kind of moronic animal doesn't understand what a squashed version of themselves kind of looks like, right? It's not like
Yeah.
our brains are empty. Just give us instructions and tell us how fast you want us to run to make money for you. That's not their programming. They know how to survive. They run from danger. That's fucking every animal, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're
Absolutely.
trying to run, but they're confined and they're shoved through this. It's like when you go into Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, you know how they go smaller and smaller room and they get this tiny door? That they're
Yeah.
shoved, they're funneled, and they're being cattle prodded and fucking whipped and yelled at and kicked in the face. And often you can see these guys punching the animals in the face as hard as they can and shit, saying, "You gotta
Yeah. Wow.
fucking die, you cunt!" Right? Ha ha ha! You gotta fucking die. And they're fucking just whipping them and just prodding in the eyeball and shit and just fucking smashing the
Yeah.
shit. Angry
Yeah.
fucking bouncers of the murder industry. This is insane. Like out of sight, out of mind. You grow up eating meat and everything. These are our treasured pets. They're like dogs almost, right, for us. I mean, you said they're probably illegal to eat in Australia, right?
I believe so. Yeah.
They're so close to dogs in terms of how much we love them, right?
Yeah.
Cows
Yeah.
are kind of we know the meat,
Yeah.
and sheep and pigs, right? I'm not okay with it, but that's the way it is. But horses, you don't think you're just gonna fucking like really torture them to death, but it happens all the time. And racehorses constitute a huge percentage, and most of
See,
the animals, horses who
like,
die at knackeries are racehorses.
yeah. No, it's horrible. That's a very horrible thing. But I've got to say, like, what a waste then. Like, if like we should like if we're gonna eat meat, it shouldn't be wasted then, should it? Like,
Well, that's
what do
right.
you think?
Well, I don't know.
Like,
I don't
if
know.
it's
There's
gonna
no
be done,
spiritual overseer that I can really think. When I believed in God, there were prices on things, right? This sin matters this much, and I'll probably, have to do 3 years in hell for that, right? But I don't know anymore
yeah,
because
blah blah
just a whole
blah.
bunch
There's
of
no
made
such
up
thing as
shit.
that. It'll just take you longer to turn into cosmic dust man. That's it.
And therefore nothing actually matters unless we decide it matters.
Possibly, yeah. Well, I mean, every sort of empire has its own rules, doesn't it? So
Yeah, I know, but don't you feel that there's a kind of a feeling of if that were to happen to me, I would be very upset about it. And then you go,
oh,
oh, I'm going to
absolutely.
save that. I'm going to save that child from being hit by that bus right now or something, because I know what would
Yeah.
happen. The child might not know. He might think the ball is all that matters. Get the ball off the road. And you're
Well,
thinking, if there's a bus, that trajectory is that, and that kid's there. I'm probably going to die saving the kid, but it's worth it. Jump, and then boom, you're dead. So you never got to see the child survive, find out anything. You're just blackness. And that's not a racist statement. I'm just saying you don't see nothing.
it's a racist statement.
Like, so
Jesus.
so was it worth you saving the kid? You've gone back to permanent sleep like it was before you were born, which I can't tell you was
Well, I
nothing.
think
You could have been
it's got to
incredible
come back to the like. Well, you surely got to. It's got to come back to the if you're on if your aeroplane's going down, you got to put your air mask on first before you put it on your kids.
Well, what happens in the sake of a bus? You stand back and let the bus go past. The kid dies. Well, at least I did my own self first. I
Yeah,
didn't get
well,
that.
better one than two, right?
Well, I
Really?
mean, there is a sort of compromise. You try to save the kid, right? In a way that's kind
Yeah,
of not going to kill you. Like you run out screaming in front of the bus, right,
just
waving
like
your
good.
arms and shit.
No.
You don't surreptitiously sneak under the fucking front bumper bar of the bus and go, I'm doing a good thing because no one will even see that I did this beautiful
All
deed,
right.
right? They
What
go
about what
squish.
about what about if the only way to do it was to run at the kid and just fucking kick it like
No,
a soccer ball.
kick's going to slow you down. You're better off grabbing him and doing a dive roll with the kid and rolling like a superhero. I
No,
mean,
what
the
a,
superhero roll has
look at
got to be the
soccer players.
fastest.
Look at soccer players, man. They
No, well,
can
a kick's going to slow them
you
down.
can
If you're
oh,
sprinting and then you
just
suddenly have to
briefly,
kick something,
just briefly.
no, yeah, well,
If
that's
you
enough
line
to
it
kill
up
you.
properly, if you're running
Oh,
up and well, then you
nah.
don't have to bend over. If you're kicking, you don't
Oh,
have to
you've
bend
got to
over.
sort of just you stoop slightly while you're running. You grab the kid, you keep running, and then you sort of swing as your ankle. You might lose an ankle. Your foot's probably going
Sounds
to be.
complicated. Sounds complicated to
No,
me.
it's faster.
I
Don't you
know.
see?
I'd run up and I would just kick it. I would kick that kid,
You didn't need to
and
get
then
hit
I
by a
would just,
bus.
and then I would
The
do the
bus was
dive,
stopping to pick him up anyway, and you just run up and
and
kick
then I
some
would do
kid.
the bus. The bus had stopped before I kicked it.
Yep. Yeah, it's miscalculation. But is there a hell for you after that? You tried to do the right thing, and hell doesn't
Absolutely
exist.
not.
So what do the figures say?
Well,
Does it?
everyone in town will have a frown.
They will. They'll frown all day long, and they'll be like, "You're the one."
All the Karens will come out and they'll
The
tell me
children.
off.
Will somebody think of the children? And
Yeah.
then you'll be like branded, and somebody will. It'll be like, what's that scene from Game of Thrones when that queen has to walk down the street naked from the Sparrow cult, right, and saying shame, shame,
Oh,
shame,
yeah,
ding, ding,
yeah,
and people
yeah.
throwing shit
I
and
seem to
spitting on her.
remember it. Yeah.
That'll be the rest of your life for kicking some kid as
I'd kick it
hard as you
hard.
could.
I'll do.
I said, I was well-intentioned kick. Don't you see? I was trying to rescue him from the bus. It was a
it
bus
would
stop.
it would have to be well intended. Like if you wanted to get it to move out of the way of the
I think
bus,
it's the thing,
you'd
the
need to
item.
kick it a couple of meters from
And
a
yeah, But you know
from a
what? The
standing
bus was
start.
coming from the on your side of the road, so you're now kicked him into oncoming traffic from the other direction. You just get splattered super hard.
No,
It's like a bigger than a moth, but still left a massive splatter on the window of that poor
no,
person
because
who.
everyone knows the bus lane's in the far left, so I just kick him to the curb.
Oh, yeah, in Sydney. Do you, in Adelaide, do you have specialised bus lanes?
Yeah, not many. Like in the yeah, we do. There's a few in the middle of the city, and then the occasional coming out of the city. There's an occasional one or two. Yeah.
Do you have trams?
No, we've got. Oh yeah, we do. Yeah, we do have trams. What am I
But
talking
you
about?
just never caught one?
I've never caught one. Yeah, no, but
What
we
are
do
they?
have
How? I
trams.
mean, do they go between lots of suburbs and stuff? Is it a
They're
big
actually
network?
apparently they're quite convenient. If you live on the line, they're very convenient apparently. But I just don't live near one, so
I just need to tell our viewers that according to our script here, it says one, talk about the horse racing industry and the cruelty to horses, and number two, talk about public transport in Adelaide. So if you appreciate the segue we went through with the improvised child kicking discussion, I'm glad you're appreciating our skills here because we are the best. What's next on the list? Oh, over here it says something
well,
about cooking.
cooking live animals.
Yeah, no, yeah. Well, we were talking about that before we were recording, before like hours ago, before we started talking about how to set up the microphone and everything for like 3 hours. Okay, so do lobsters have gills
Talk to me
in
about
their armpits?
um. Sorry, what was that?
Lobsters have gills, right? But they can still survive
Oh
out of
yeah,
water
yeah.
for a long time if they've got wet
Oh,
gills.
absolutely. Yeah. I'm not sure of the absolute specifics of how long and what the best conditions are, because
Well, I
normally,
can
like,
tell you, there was a scandal just recently because there's a problem with China and Australia because we wanted to do an
oh,
investigation into the Wuhan bat melding with a fucking rat thing that caused the coronavirus. And they said, no, we're boycotting Australia. And so the news article was uh,
all the
30,
lobsters.
30 tons of lobsters spoiled and the stock was ruined. Now,
Yeah,
what kind of an insignificant person would you have to be just mentioned in terms of your weight contribution to a fucking kitchen platter? The animals suffered. They were basically suffocating in the burning sun for
yes.
hours until they died. But
Well, probably,
all the
probably
news
not even.
reports were saying,
They probably didn't have the pleasure of being in the sun. They were probably in big shipping containers being cooked like lobsters,
no, they
literally.
didn't. They didn't even get to get cooked, which is probably a better way to go than dying of boiling hot water because apparently it takes about 3 minutes for a lobster to die in boiling water.
Is it? Do you reckon 3 minutes? No,
That's what I heard, and crabs as well. It takes about 3 minutes,
nah. That's
and
about. That's like
they even sometimes throw off their claws as a sort of a last ditch effort to save themselves somehow.
yeah,
Has that ever
yeah.
happened? Have you ever seen like
Well,
crabs like
I've never
lose their?
thrown. Well, I've never seen that. But I mean, I know, like, I've seen, like, they fight, like, yabbies and stuff will fight in tanks between each other, and they'll rip each other's claws off.
Well, I mean, that was the story I wanted to tell you about grade five. In grade five, and I know you've got worse stories because you're a chef. I say chef, and I'm thinking Nazi. No, but yeah. Anyway, no, I mean, chefs can be, chefs make my food. I love them, but
Yeah,
there's been a lot of animal cruelty that just goes all the way from the whole industry all the way through to chefs.
absolutely,
Um,
absolutely,
so
absolutely. Yeah,
in grade five, we had this fish tank, and somebody brought in like I don't know, 8 yabbies, and just put them in there. One of them seemed pregnant, and I think it was giving birth and stuff. In the first
yeah,
few days, they were fed. I don't know if anyone actually knew what to feed them. No school teacher seemed to care. There was a
yeah.
main sort of teacher, Mr. Hain or something. He was in charge of the main group of class, and then we had the religious teacher, and
Yeah.
that was sort of like that kind of teacher. We just had it was a very religious school, and then Catholic, and then we went back, and then at the back of above the school bags, in all those slots where the school bags were kept, was the Yabby tank, and over the
Yeah.
period of I don't know 9 months or something. Oh, it must have been less than that. No Yabby can survive for that long. Anyway,
They'll kill.
thing is,
They'll kill each other.
yeah, but it was like last one survivor. Like it was like
Yeah.
they ate each other to death, and
Yeah.
the biggest one
That's
was
what
the
they do.
winner, and then
Yeah.
he eventually just floated into death because he starved because he'd already eaten everything else, and there was no more food, and nobody gave a fuck.
Oh, you're
I just
kidding.
felt sorry, but I didn't do anything.
Yeah.
I just thought, I'm 10 or whatever it was. I was
Yeah.
about 10, right? 9 and 10. I
A
thought
bit of ham.
grown-ups
He
will
would
handle
have
it.
liked a bit of ham or a bit of chicken. No worries.
Yeah. I mean, like, what do they eat? Are they
Like
meatitarians?
meat. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. They eat each other, man. Yeah.
And well, that's what
We used
happened.
to.
I thought they wouldn't have if they had food.
Yeah, we used to catch them up in Cessnock, and we used to. It was real easy. In these real muddy waters, you get a piece of chicken, like literally a fucking piece of chicken, and you tie it to a bit of string, like just shitty butcher's twine, and you just chuck it in the water and just drag it towards you, and then yabbies would be on the end of it when you pick it up.
Yeah, I can imagine. Because they like it's an animal that doesn't really have much, I don't know, runaway reflex or scared. Are they just unable to like escape easily? Do they swim better than they walk, or what's the deal with
I
that?
reckon they can swim half decently, but it depends on the animal. Like yabbies live in the like real muddy water, so they rely on their antennae.
Camouflage. Yeah.
Well, it's pretty. Everything's camouflaged there. You can't even see 1 centimeter. Like a human can't even see 1 centimeter. So
Well,
it'd be all
yeah.
their. It'd be their
So-
sense of smell and their antennae. Like they'd be able to. They'd be able
Yeah,
to
but
sense.
what I'm saying is, if you're evolved to escape by simply hiding in murky water, that would be your water of choice, so you don't get eaten or caught,
Well,
wouldn't it? And
I,
so therefore, you
I
don't
don't-
have to evolve to run away very well. You sort of just hide or die.
well, I'm not sure if they have a choice. It's an interesting question. Like,
I mean,
um,
are they good at evading? Like, if you were to, if a fish was to chase after a yabby,
yeah, they're strong. They're strong.
right?
But
Okay,
it
so
depends on
they
the
can
size of
fight.
the fish. Like a certain size of fish would love yabbies, like a snapper or something. But they're different. Like the yabbies I'm talking about were in like this. It was almost like a still pond,
Yeah, like a dam. That's where you
like a
expect to find.
dam. Yeah. But then there's like freshwater yabbies. There's saltwater yabbies, which I guess I'm not sure if there are saltwater yabbies actually.
How can they be
Maybe.
related? I don't understand the connection. Isn't that a completely different evolutionary sort of thing to have salt and clear fresh water of the same species?
Well, I'm not sure. So you're saying it's either convergent
I
evolution?
don't know. No, I know. I don't understand. It could salt and freshwater animals might be closely related often, but I don't
Well,
know.
I think certain species would be able to adapt. Like you look at like the bull shark, for instance. I know it's not a crustacean, but it like you find them in full freshwater rivers, man.
So they
Like
don't care.
they've got some kind of adaptation that they can do it. You know, like not all animals would be able to do that. Like because osmosis or whatever. So like
Well,
a
what happens with
saltwater.
salt? Why do you need salt in your water? That would hinder you from breathing the oxygen from the water, wouldn't it? I
Well,
don't
yeah,
get how salt would be.
yeah, well, it's something to do with the osmosis. Like, so, like, if like a saltwater animal that can't live in fresh water gets chucked into fresh water, it dries out. It dries out, like, because it just hasn't adapted to be living in that water. So I'm sure it could take the oxygen, but I think it's something to do with it wigs out through the osmosis of the salt and the non-salt difference.
Well, I can understand a goldfish being chucked into the ocean and dying of, I don't know, the salt content. right?
Well, well, the same would happen in the opposite.
But I don't understand that part
Why not?
because
It's the
salt
same.
seems to be not as nice as clean.
But if you're adapted to it, it is.
Well,
That's what you want.
it's just an extra bit of salt. How's that going to help you? I don't get it.
Well, just like you said, if you put the goldfish in the salt, it's just a bit of extra salt. Why
No,
would it
but
die?
salt. No, but that we can't. So, like humans can't drink salt water. It doesn't hydrate
No,
us.
no,
Probably makes you die faster.
no. But like there's like billions and billions of animals that live in the salt water that have never had one sip of fresh water in their
I know,
life.
but the bull shark has, and he's fine.
Yeah, but that's just one. That's just one option, and that's like an anomaly. It's just like an adaptation that animal has, and there'd be other animals that have it as well, like
Mm,
estuarine, like because basically anything that lives in an estuary is already halfway there. Like
mm,
like a river that has tidal, like the salt water comes in and out, and there's animals that live there that can swim up to where it's more fresh water, or swim down to where, and they can survive
mm,
in both different atmospheres.
mm.
If you Can you call it an atmosphere? Is underwater an atmosphere? I don't
I
know.
don't know. But the lobster being able to survive outside of water for a long period of time seems confusing since it's only got gills. So
I think it
the
would to be
advice
to do with the wetness that you.
it is
Yeah,
the
that's
wetness on the
confusing to me.
gills.
Yeah, because there's like
It
mud
dries
crabs,
out.
like yeah, because like crabs and stuff, like they'll keep like they put rubber bands around the pincers basically, and just put them in polystyrene boxes, and they seem to last for quite a few days. I
That's got
think
to be
it's
considered
more a
torture.
temperature it's more a temperature thing. So the they'll last better like so basically if you pull them out of water that's 15 degrees Celsius, then
Mm.
you want to be keeping them at 15 degrees Celsius while they're alive.
I think I've just decided something. You know, with vegetarianism, I think
Yeah.
if an animal is just killed quickly, like it would be in nature, well, not all animals will be killed quickly in nature. Some will be just
Yeah.
eaten from the asshole, and there's like freaking screaming, die
Like
after about an hour.
hyenas and water buffalo.
And
Yeah.
wolves and probably dogs, right? They're probably dogs who we love so much. They'd probably just go up to a sheep and just start eating from its asshole, and it can't
Oh.
escape, and it's just like alive for ages.
Oh.
That's nature, and like a spider eating a fly, that doesn't just die instantly. They're fucking
No.
just buzzing, going, "Don't kill me, don't kill me!" Right? Then the
Yeah.
spider's going, sucking its
Yeah.
guts. Anyway, humans aren't the only bad creature if we're talking about murder being wrong. Like nature itself is fucked.
Absolutely. Well, no, it's not fuck. It's just it is what it is. But
It is
no,
what it is.
the difference between nature and humans is humans have taken it to like a scale of like farming animals and
Yeah,
farming everything. So it's not like we're going out to hunt our
yeah,
food.
but then you could argue that we're protecting prey animals from being killed naturally more easily from foxes and things.
What do you mean?
Like chickens in a coop are gonna survive longer than a chicken out in the field where there are
Yeah,
foxes and shit running around.
but chickens shouldn't really exist as a chicken in the real world.
Well,
If
they're
there were
supposed to be
no chicken
dinosaurs.
coops. Well, yeah. No. But there'll be a different version of them, like a skinny little fucking wily little bird that would be living in the forest or whatever. But like a chicken, as we know it, it shouldn't exist in real life.
What
We've
did it
farmed
start
those
as?
motherfuckers.
But they would
It would have
never
started
fly.
as a bird.
Flightless.
It would have started as a bird.
The
Yeah, of course.
the tastiest bird that the natives, our
Yeah.
ancestors, could find.
Well, yeah, and then they just would have started keeping them around the place, because chickens are useful as well. They peck it, they forage, and I don't know what do they call it. There's a word for it. They skitch on the ground or some shit. And they eat all the bugs and blah 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 blah, and they're helpful. And then you can eat them, and then they lay eggs. There's heaps of things.
And so tell me, chickens, do you reckon they could originally sort of fly better than they can now? Or do all pet chickens
Yeah.
or
Well,
have
they
their
would have
wings
been.
clipped or something?
No, well, they would have been. They've been bred to have huge breasts and thighs. Like
Oh,
they've
so they're
been,
too heavy.
yeah, they've been bred to have huge muscles where the humans like to eat those bits. You know, like, even like chicken
Mm.
wings these days. Like you get a chicken wing these days, it's like a fucking size of your hand, man. It's like
Mm.
what the fuck?
So they were initially selectively bred, and then we've learned some things about how to speed up the genetic process. Let me ask you about
Over
genetic.
over thousands of years, yeah, yeah,
Well, that's a slow way to get things done, like turning a grey wolf into a chihuahua,
yeah.
or
Well, I
or
mean,
a Great Dane.
I think there's been massive acceleration in the last few decades
Yeah,
comparatively
and now they've got
to
CRISPR,
previous to that. Yes, yeah, yeah.
DNA splicing. How do you
Wow,
feel
yeah,
about
wow.
speeding
Yeah,
things up? Or in
I,
terms of humans, at least, what do you feel about select? When a woman goes to get an ultrasound in, I think it was UK, from the statistic I read, 89% will terminate the labour if the child has Down syndrome.
yeah, right. Well, far out. I
So
mean,
this
that's a tough.
we're already choosing. And
Yeah.
I've had to learn the lyrics to some songs recently. One of them being "Virtual Insanity" by Jamiroquai, and
Oh yeah.
I haven't figured out. I can't remember the actual lyrics to this song because it's a brand new one. But now a mother can choose the color of her child. That's not nature's way. But why not? What does it matter? The thing is, they talk about adding capabilities. Do you want your child to have better eyesight? Okay, cool. Yeah, that's $10. Do you want more intelligence? Cool,
Yeah. Wow. Well,
$1,000.
see,
More
you're
muscles,
opening.
better, taller,
That's a new
blue eyes.
opening a new can of worms when you're talking
But it's
about
just
that.
it's just a simple sequence in the genome that they can select and shove
What's
in
that
there.
movie? What's that movie with
Gattaca,
Jude? What's it called?
Gattaca.
Gattaca. Yes.
They're
Yeah.
the four different types of amino acids that make up DNA.
Yeah.
And
Mm,
so it's the order of those in the what do you call the helical chromosome structure?
yeah. Okay. The
Double
heliosphere,
helix. The double
double
helix.
helix. Yeah.
It's twist. It's like a ladder, but it's twisted, and it just
Yeah.
makes itself into an X or a Y depending on.
Sure. I've seen the interpretations of it. Yeah.
So it was hard for me to figure out what's inside what with the word gene and DNA and all these different words. And I was like, what order? If we zoom in, which word do we hit first? So it's basically
Well,
cell.
DNA is the big thing, yeah. Like that's the double helix, and then genes are
Wait,
parts
isn't
of
that
the
the
DNA.
chromosome? Isn't the big thing if it's an X or a Y? Isn't it a chromosome? That entire spaghetti thing, and makes
I
the shape
no,
of
I
an X
think
or a Y.
no,
And
no.
then
I
the
think the chromosomes are inside of that because there's like for example, a human has like what is it 46 chromosomes.
oh yeah, what's the deal with that?
Well, that's how many we got, and I think
Well,
it
what
is.
do they look like?
I hope I'm right.
What do they look like?
Well, I think they're just like. Well, we don't really know what they look like, but in the
No, we do.
interpretations,
We
the
us two just don't know.
no, yeah, no, but in the books, that's not actually what the stuff looks like.
Yeah,
Like that's
but
just an
it's not
interpretation.
too
It's
small. It's
close.
not too
It's
small to
close.
see.
Yeah.
It's not like an electron or something tiny. Let me have a look under a microscope.
So you know
Chromosomes.
what? I don't know. I don't know what's bigger, a gene or a chromosome?
I'm pretty sure a gene is a sequence of the DNA sequence. Like it's like if you've got GATAC,
So the DNA.
that could
Yeah.
be the
Okay.
code for blue eyes. So that's a gene, that sequence. So
Yeah, but I
you
think
blue.
that's like one of the like cogs way down within the DNA
No, I was
sequence.
right. I'm looking. I just typed in the word chromosome, and they've got a picture of a big floppy X. And I know that if you untangle that X, it's a gigantic double helix. And inside that, I'm gonna write. Okay. I'll just read what it says here on Google's first result. Chromosomes are thread-like structures located inside the nucleus of animal and plant cells. Each chromosome is made of protein and a single molecule of deoxyribonucleic acid, DNA.
Okay.
So let me read that again. Each chromosome is made of protein. I think that's kind of just like tissue when they say protein in terms of medical stuff, and a
Yeah.
single molecule. Molecule. I think a molecule is a combination of atoms.
Yes.
Anyway, of
Yeah.
although I don't know if the word molecule changes definition between chemistry and biology. Molecule of deoxyribonucleic acid DNA, a single
Yeah.
molecule of that. Passed from parents to offspring, DNA contains the specific instructions that make each type of living creature unique. Here, so that's the kind of vague sentence I'm trying to avoid. I want to, if
Yeah.
I don't understand what something actually looks like, I can't classify it in my brain. If somebody gives
Yeah.
me a vague, love is from the heart, it's like, is it? No, I don't think it
Yeah.
is. I think
All right.
it's
All right. All right.
oxytocin from some part of the brain that emits that. Isn't it? Oxytocin is what love feels like, right? It's no, there's no bullshit about your heart. I mean, you can have your heart removed and replaced by a plastic heart. You can still feel love.
Sure. And then there's conditioning.
I'm just thinking, if I can't see an example, and if you can't describe to me what it looks like, or show me a picture of what it looks like, or an animation of how it works, I don't get it.
Mm, mm, mm.
So I think chromosome is. So how many did you say we have?
Is it 46?
Don't know. I
Have you
don't.
got? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. How many chromosomes? Okay, I'll
Sorry,
Google it.
I was just sliding back.
Here's my Googling skills. I wrote how many chromosome, and Google says how many chromosomes do humans have? Humans have 23 pairs of chromosomes for a total of 46 chromosomes, as you said. In fact, each species of plant and animals has a set number of chromosomes. A fruit fly, for example, has 4 pairs of chromosomes, while a rice plant has 12, and a dog 39.
Wow.
We have 23 pairs.
Yeah.
And I think with
But
males, every pair is X and Y, and with every female, it's XX. That's for humans. I mean, no,
right.
I'm not sure what with the number of 46. Like, so 46 in total, they come in pairs. I don't know why they talk about the word pairs. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. You know what? I don't either.
like, is that contained in a bubble? Is each pair inside a bubble? And what's the deal with Down syndrome? How many chromosome Down syndrome?
Well,
How I
that's an
type.
extra chromosome on the 23rd.
Typically, a baby is born with 46 chromosomes. Babies with Down syndrome have an extra copy of one of these chromosomes, chromosome 21.
Oh, 21. Sorry, not 22. Yeah.
No, well, it says chromosome 21, like they're naming the chromosome.
So they got a third. So they got a third copy rather than a pair. It's a third.
Yeah,
thing.
it doesn't make sense to me. Typically, a baby is born with 46 chromosomes. Babies with Down syndrome have an extra copy of one of these chromosomes. So they've got 47 instead of 46.
Yeah. So there's an extra. There's a third one on the 21st pair.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's very specific.
Which is just.
I feel
Unlike,
like there's
well,
prerequisite information that I don't have to understand what are chromosomes one to.
I don't even know why I remember that information. Seriously, like that was like some random science class at school, probably year 10 or something like that.
Yeah. But I don't see. I don't know. Sometimes the first result on Google is from a bad site. So, but this one's from
Yeah.
cdc.gov. It's an excerpt. It's just,
Yeah, right.
but once again, this is a vague explanation where I don't have a visual. I can't understand what chromosome 21 means. I don't know what pairs of chromosomes look like in terms of its context of the cell of a human. I mean, I'm assuming they're in every cell.
I couldn't explain that either.
But there are different parts of the cell, like mitochondria and different. Like the mitochondria is like a battery inside a cell. Are the chromosomes in there, or have they got their own little village over to the right inside the cell? If we look at the cell as a city, because
They
cells
must
have
be
a
in
lot
the
going on.
they must be in the nucleus. I would have thought
Oh, in the nucleus of the cell, like if we're looking at a cell like an
of
egg.
every cell of every cell.
Okay, but are they inside mitochondria, or is mitochondria sort of seated beside the
Mm-mm.
chromosomes, like they're mates? I don't get
I'm,
the whole
I'm not quite
association.
sure, but I mean, I'm sure that size becomes a massive factor. So I think stuff can get so tiny that it can fit so small. But I would have thought that like DNA is like part of. You can get DNA like if you're doing like crime scene investigation, you can get DNA from pretty much everything except for like hair. I
You
think.
can't get DNA from hair.
I think certain parts of hair, like the end, unless it's the follicle, I don't think you can get DNA from hair. No.
Really? Okay.
Uh, I'm not sure if I'm actually right on that, but I think
Because hair is made up of cells, isn't it? Hair cells.
it's made up of keratin.
Oh, okay, so they're not proper cells.
I think it's just different. It is cells, of course, cells of keratin, but I think it doesn't reflect the DNA or something like that unless you get it from the follicle, which is right at the like where it goes into the skin. I don't think you can get it.
It's
Yeah, I'm
interesting.
gonna look it up.
So I've just typed in the word DNA into Google, and it's just given me another vague thing that doesn't give me context. It says deoxyribonucleic acid is a molecule comprised of two polynucleotide chains that coil around each other to form a double helix carrying genetic instructions for the development, functioning, growth, and reproduction of all known organisms and many viruses. DNA and ribonucleic acid are nucleic acids. Doesn't help
Yeah,
me. I need a picture. I think the double helix is the DNA, which is what I thought the chromosome was. So, what is the difference between a chromosome
no, but
and
there's not the
DNA?
chromosome. There's 46 chromosomes.
Yeah, but it's not like,
No, there's
Peter,
one
Paul,
DNA.
Mary, fucking
There's
Jono.
one. The DNA sequence is the thing. Like that's the thing.
It is the thing.
And then like all those other shit. That's all hanging off the DNA.
Oh, by the way, you know what half a double helix is called? Like the double helix is
Uh,
DNA, right? The double helix, that whole
an
twisted
onyx,
ladder, is DNA.
an onyx.
No, no, it's called RNA, ribonucleic acid.
Oh,
So
okay.
that's
Yeah,
that's
okay.
what's inside the coronavirus. That comes in and sort of fucking injects itself and just
I
like
have heard about
changes.
RNA. Mm.
It's like
I
half a
just like
DNA.
it's yeah.
So DNA is two RNAs. That's what I'm
Right.
seeing in this picture. So long as yeah. So when we talk about Gattaca,
Yeah.
that's guanine, adenine, cytosine, and thymine. They're the
Okay.
types of
Thiamine's a B.
nucleobases.
Thiamine's a B vitamin, isn't it?
I don't know. Your cells are full of them. I mean, that's
Yeah.
probably why you got whatever color skin you are. What color are you again?
Depends what sunglasses I'm wearing.
Do you know? I heard this the other day, right? You know the reason things have color? White light
Uh,
comes from the sun or
yes.
whatever other light source we basically have, right? It shines on
Yes.
something, and the color that something reflects the most is what we see.
Yes.
Because that color was not absorbed by the thing. And so
Yes.
the color we see is the color that the thing is not.
That's why the sky's blue.
Well, I guess the sky's not blue then.
Well,
See, so what I'm saying is
that's why we think it's blue because of what you just said.
well, no, because what I'm saying is, how the whole racism thing, people choosing like, I care more about this person because they're the color of my skin as well.
Oh, okay, right. Yeah.
But white people are actually black. We're black, and so we're reflecting off all the whiteness which has been rejected by our bodies. No, it's true. The
Holy
skin
shit. Yeah,
and
right.
black people are actually white, and they're rejecting off all the the black, and that's what
What's
we
this?
see. So they're actually
Where,
white.
where did
I
you get
don't
the
know.
science from?
I got it from. It's a bit hard with all this whiskey, but it's true somehow. I don't know if it's exactly like the opposite color, like white versus black, or I'm more pink, or with spots. But that is kind of like. But my spots are lighter than my skin is, if that whole reasoning is accurate. Like the reason, if you look at an apple, a red apple under um, a red light, you don't see. It's just a black apple. There's no color, I think. Also, I
Yeah.
can't remember what it is. I can't remember what it is. There was some sort of experiment I saw on YouTube. I didn't
Yeah.
recall all
I know what
nicely.
you mean about the light filtering, because like if you go underwater, when sunlight hits water, the light dissipates at different frequencies as it goes deeper. So that's why you'll get to a certain depth, and all the animals, if you shine a torch at them, they appear red.
All of them look red.
They all look red at a certain depth, because of the refractive light that's just made it. All the blue light's gone, all the other light's gone, and there's only red light left at a certain depth. I can't remember what the depth is. But yeah, all the animals appear red, and I can't remember if you actually shine a torch on them. That sounds.
Well, I
Um,
have seen video footage and photographs of animals that are different colors than red. I've seen them rainbow reflecty,
I've
those
seen
sort
those.
of
Yeah,
like
well,
centipede
that's a
things that.
different story. That's even deeper. That's like mad deep, where it's like black deep, and that's like some kind of crazy translucence that they get, and they can. Yeah, yeah, but you can only see it, I think, if you shine a light on them. Like they're invisible apart from when the humans are there shining lights on them.
Okay.
I believe. And yeah, you can't get DNA from hair unless it's got the root.
I just found a website called differencebetween.info. That sounds official. Anyway, they're saying the key difference between DNA and chromosome is that DNA is a molecule that encodes the genetic instructions that are used for the development and functioning of cells and living organisms and many viruses, whereas chromosomes are basically organized structure of DNA and protein cells that are found in a cell. It's the organized structure. So a chromosome is DNA. It's
But
just,
DNA is the chromosome.
well, DNA, just imagine like you have this giant rubbery ladder that's twisted into a double helix, right?
Sure.
That's DNA. Okay. If
Yeah.
it's laid out flat on
So
the
where's the
ground,
chromosome? What's the chromosome then?
so basically the chromosome is after the magician at the party twists it into a giraffe. And that's what they call in chromosome. I don't know why they came up with two different words for the same fucking thing, right? But
So
because
they're
they've got
saying, like,
X and
so
Y
the
shapes.
DNA. So it's
Well,
like DNA is DNA just when you're like born, and then the chromosome is
no,
what makes you be able to walk down the road.
no. The DNA is basically like a straight, long party balloon, like for the magician to twist into something, right? Just in
Okay.
its long, nothing
Yeah.
shape, right? And then
Pretty hot. Yeah.
yeah, and then the party magician goes, "Here's a giraffe," and that's the chromosome. He didn't do
Right.
anything to change it. He just changed. He just laid it out differently. He
He's
twisted
folded
it.
it. He folded it.
He just folded it. That's what
Yeah.
a chromosome is: folded DNA. And
Ah.
it's either folded into an Y or an X.
So what? What about all 46 of those chromosomes? Like, is it like a
Yeah.
sweatshop? Are they all folding? Like, is it like they're just folding
Well,
proteins left, right, and
your
center?
mum's. I reckon. You know how you get like one egg, which is half of you, basically, and the other half is
Yeah.
the sperm.
Yeah.
All your mother was filled with like I don't know millions of egg follicles. I reckon
Yeah.
they're the sweatshop kids who are busy trying to like cook up the. They're just like little slave
All
children
46
who are
chromosomes.
twisting the party balloon DNA into chromosomes.
Yeah, right.
It's not just 46. It's 46 times a trillion or whatever, how many cells you're made out of.
Yeah. But
So they've got to work hard.
yeah.
They're working hard. Don't worry about that. It's not just 46. Oh, let's have a smoke break. No. These kids just
They're
get
just sweating.
bollocked.